Good afternoon, everybody. It's going to be our Summary Markets episode 218. We're going to start off with the calendar, then we'll move into ES, NASDAQ, Bitcoin, Ethereum, talk about the oil, and then the dollar and the euro. So with this video, there's going to be a newsletter as well, so make sure to check your emails for that. If you guys are not subscribed, it will be the first link in the description. We're going to have a write-up along with the video. But all right, starting off with the calendar here, Monday actually has nothing on the calendar, so nothing to worry about as far as data goes. But then after that, it gets very volatile very quickly. Tuesday through Friday has high impact data every single day. So Tuesday, we have PMI data at 9:45 right after the bell. We have new home sales at 10 o'clock and the Richmond Manufacturing Index also at 10 o'clock. On Wednesday, we have core durable goods and durable goods at 8:30 in the morning, as well as crude oil inventories at 10:30. Moving on to Thursday, we have the GDP data, unemployment data, goods trade balance, wholesale inventories, all happening pre-market at 8:30, and then pending home sales at 10 o'clock. Finally, on Friday, we have the PCE data, very high impact. Make sure to watch out for that. Personal income and personal spending, all at 8:30 before the bell. And then after the bell, we have consumer sentiment and inflation expectations. So pretty much every single data point this week is medium or high impact. It is a very active week, so make sure you guys are watching those times on those release dates. So we have 9:45, 10 o'clock, 8:30. Most of them are before the bell, but some of them are after the bell at 10 a.m. So make sure you guys watch that. It will definitely bounce the dollar around. It will push ES and NASDAQ around. So just keep an eye on the calendar. We like to use the forex factory calendar. It's 100% free, so be sure to check that out. But all right, moving on to the analysis here, starting off with ES. The levels that we are watching, mainly starting on Friday's value. If we can hold below that 92, we're going to start pushing down into some very old value levels. I had to go all the way back to February and January to get some value levels down here. First target would be 36, going down to 49.10. That starts a value retrace down into 48.75. And then we have a low marked out around 48.66. And I can show you where I'm grabbing these levels from. I had to go way back here into January to get those levels. So we haven't seen these prices since January, early 2024. Long story, or the long plan, I guess you would say, for the bears will be that gap fill. So on the macro timeframes, the weekly, the monthly, they are looking for that gap fill way back into 4,600 because that is the only open gap in the current history of ES. So make sure to watch out for that. That will probably get filled in eventually. If this downtrend continues, it will probably be filled in rather quickly. I don't think we're going to fill it in next week, so let's keep talking about next week's levels. So looking at the upside here, above 36, we're going to look for 74. Next value rotation would be into 95. Then we have the high right here, the high of Wednesday into 51.20. And then we have a really big value retrace into 51.82. This is almost an incomplete auction. It is not an incomplete auction because these are inside days. If we were to find value below that zone and then fail the retrace, that would be an incomplete auction. But because these were inside days, they were trading inside of that value, it is not an incomplete auction. But still kind of a failed retrace. So we have a failed retrace into 82. That will be that final target for next week. All right, moving on to NASDAQ. So to the downside, let me mark out Friday's levels actually. We want to keep an eye on Friday's value as well. Okay, so looking at below Friday's value, 131, we're going to look for 052, and then down to the 16,000. So 16,834, 813, 736, 689. A lot of these levels are overlapping. Realistically, what you want to watch is this value retrace into 736, and then we have a value retrace into 503. Okay, so there are a ton of overlapping levels. I wanted to make sure I got all the major levels so I didn't have to go back and look for them. later on this week. But realistically, the two major levels, 736 and 503, those are the two value levels. Got a couple of POC nodes around 813, 657, but keep an eye on those major value lows. To the upside, above 398, we're going to look for 570. That starts the value retrace of Thursday. The value retrace is finished into 733, and then we finish another value retrace into 844. And then finally, we have that kind of failed value retrace that we talked about on ES. Same thing on NASDAQ, goes into 227. That'll be the final target to the upside for this week. Now, most likely, we are going to have to change a lot of these levels and kind of update you guys day by day because of how strong the data is coming in. So make sure you guys are watching that newsletter. We give you guys a trade plan every single day for free in the morning. So be sure to check that out. We're going to be updating those levels as we go on. All right, moving on to crypto here. So Bitcoin, none of the major levels have changed. We are bouncing off that LVN zone. We are back into the distribution. So distribution value low was around 65,000. The value high was around 71. So what we could do, we could update these levels because we've had a few more trading days. Let's go ahead and update our distribution here. So value low is now right here. And the value high was basically the same level. And then we can mark out the POC if we want. So POC of the distribution would be right there. So we're recovering the value low, the distribution low. Watch for that POC around 67.4, and then the value high is around 71. And then just above that, there should be some seller demand, probably a lot of resting liquidity around that area. And then to the upside, we have a fib sell zone around 80,000 and one around 90. To the downside, if we break that LVN, look for that buyer demand around 52,000. Same thing on Ethereum, not really changing any of these levels. Buyer demand still holding, held beautifully there. You can see a couple of wicks, 1, 2, 3, 4 wicks there. So that was a beautiful buy zone. Hopefully you guys watched that level from our last video. And then if it continues to the upside, watch that seller demand around that 34 to 34.50. That is a big level to watch. If you're looking for more of the short-term levels, you can look at the value on this accumulation. And you really want to hold on to that POC node. So POC around 30.81, and we need to build value above basically the current price here. So the value high would be around 31.50. If we can build value above that, look for that seller demand just above that 3,400. All right, moving on to oil. Not really any changes on the oil chart level-wise, but we are respecting these levels in different ways. So we tried to bounce off that trend. It failed. You had that gap down on the rollover. You tried to push back up, and then you failed that trend. We're going to go ahead and delete that trend now. And then if we want to, we can go ahead and update our distribution value levels. Let's go ahead and grab our new value here. So we have that value low trading around 84.75, value high trading around 86.50. So if we can hold on to the buyer demand here, keep an eye on that distribution level. So let's just say 85 and then 86.50. Those are the two major levels to reclaim. And then most likely some resting liquidity above that high, which is above 87.63. If we start staying below 82, looks pretty weak here. Keep an eye on 80 quarter, and then below 80 quarter, you're looking for that buyer demand way down there around 76. You can see we're losing that old trend line as well. So both those trend lines, and I'm not a big trend line trader, but I like marking them out just so you guys can see them. But we are losing that trend, so the trend line traders are not looking too good here. They're leaning bearish into this week. All right, last but not least, let's go ahead and cover the dollar and the euro. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe. I appreciate all the support on these videos. Let's go ahead and finish up with the dollar here. So holding on to that high around 106 even. If it holds 106 even, look for that gap around 106.67. That is the major bullish target there. Bullish for the dollar, bearish for ES, of course. If we do start staying below 106, keep an eye on that 105. not just the whole number, but the highs here. You can see those 2 previous highs being protected, so keep an eye on that pullback. Finally, for the euro, and by the way, we're definitely going to be seeing a lot of movement on these this week because of all that data. So buyer demand still holding up around 106.7. If you start losing 106 even, you're looking for 105.4, and then below 105.4, probably around 104 even. If you do start bouncing off this buyer demand, be sure to look for that 108 even, and then above 108 even, you're probably going to take these highs. So you've got a high around 109, and then you have a high right here around 109.7. So right now you still have those lower lows, lower highs, and we have that pullback that follows ES, right? So the euro typically has a positive correlation. The dollar typically has a negative correlation. So definitely watch those correlations going into this week because the calendar is absolutely stacked for the entire week. Monday is the only day we don't have any major data. But all right, guys, that is it for this video. Be sure to check out the write-up. We're going to have the write-up as the first link in the description below. That's going to be our newsletter for this video. And then we'll have some more trade plans coming out later this week. So make sure you guys subscribe to that newsletter. We have a trade plan every morning at 9:30, just before the bell. We have a midday update that comes out around lunchtime. And then we have a closing statement that comes out after the close. So we have different trade plans throughout the entire day. But all right, guys, I will see you guys for our live stream tomorrow. Have a good rest of your weekend. Peace.